Vedanta is that body of knowledge. You can call it spiritual knowledge or whatever. There are people who even call it a kind of deep life skill.
जय धारी माँ।
Jai Dharima.
Namaste. Namaste,
Jai Ma.
Kiran. Namaste,
Jai Ma.
Sainaji.
Thank you.
Jai Ma.
So good to see you back.
Thank you. Same here.
हमारी ऑडियंसेस का स्वागत है। आइए जुड़िए। We have come together for another session of Vedanta. Before I start, I do Namo to Mataji's Aradhya and Mataji's Isht. कल हमने 2 साल मनाए डीएल के माताजी और 2 साल बातचीत के पूरे होने जा रहे हैं 19 जुलाई को। तो बाद में जी सॉरी मास कृपा बाद में रिफ्लेक्ट कर रही थी व्हाट नेक्स्ट एंड मन में बहुत विचार आ रहा था। एक विचार आया माँ की कृपा से कि माँ के नाम की गूंज के बाद, जयधारी माँ के बाद, माँ के नाम के गूंज के बाद जो भी हमारे साथ हैं उनकी आराध्य को और उनके इष्ट को भी नमो करो।
वाह, बहुत सुंदर आइडिया है।
मन में करती थी पर एक्सप्रेस नहीं करा। एंड दिस इज मास कृपा दैट सो आपके आराध्य को और आपके इष्ट को भी नमो। Mataji, another thought that came to my mind was, what's next? Every time we complete a year, हमसे पूछा जाता है या लाइफ में पूछा जाता है जब कोई डेस्टिनेशन रीच करते हैं, that जी मम्मी सेटिंग
Carry on.
जी वो पूछा जाता है what next? माताजी, why what next? Why not just more and more of this? Why what next? Why not more and more of this? Why not more and more of life? Why not more and more of living? Why not more and more of learning? And Mataji, that's what, because we can't predict what's next. Nobody can predict what's next. But one thing can be predicted. More and more of goodness, more and more of kindness, more and more of learning, more and more of living. Coming to Vedanta, Mataji, Veda means knowledge. And Anta means highest. So it means the highest form of knowledge.
Yes.
Coming back to DL again, Mataji, just feel like sharing all this with you. Coming back to DL.
Yes.
Highest form of knowledge. Mataji, why is it's also a question. मन घबराता है कई बारी सुन के spirituality, highest form of knowledge. क्यों माताजी? Because ये सारा का सारा highest form of knowledge actually हमें जीने का तरीका ही तो सिखा रहा है. It's not taking us away from sansar. It's not taking us away from life. In fact, it is strengthening our physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, social, financial muscles. How else will we strengthen them? So, Mataji, your thoughts on how Vedanta actually strengthens our day-to-day life, because it is the highest form of knowledge and knowledge of all dharmas.
Right.
Whichever dharma one follows, knowledge of all dharmas is actually supposed to strengthen your day-to-day life and living.
True.
जी माताजी, जी.
Uh, First of all, let me answer your question. Why Vedanta is called the highest form of knowledge? It's a very valid question. कितने तरह के ज्ञान ज्ञान हैं? क्यों हम कहते हैं कि ये सर्वोच्च ज्ञान है? Why is it always put in the superlative? Uh, for the simple reason, it is the answer to the existential problems of life. इसका मतलब क्या है? देखिए, हमारे जीवन में जितने प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, many of them, they are physical in nature, of the nature of survival, which can be met with, or they are of the nature of mental problems. All many of our social problems, our interpersonal issues, all of these are, you can say, to a great extent mental problems, and of course there are the survival needs, the actual physical problems. Now these two problems can be addressed at different levels. Lekin the fundamental nature of existence and the fundamental nature of my own being, और कोई विद्या नहीं है, ज्ञान नहीं है जो इसको एड्रेस कर सके. If this is everybody's experience, that even if my life is full of all the material objects which a person can want, if it is full of all the wonderful relationships I may want, still I will be asking for और क्या है ना? आपने अभी अभी कहा वो, we keep doing that. What next? So what next is the common question of all beings, from the beggar on the street to the highest duke in some palace. So what next? What is it that prompts the human mind to ask this question? जो भी हमें लब्ध हो, फिर भी हम ये क्वेश्चन करते हैं कि और क्या है, और अनुभव के लिए क्या चीज है. So that is why this is the only knowledge which will put an end to this question. क्योंकि हमारे अंदर जो existential hunger है, which means we don't know the actual crux of existence, this deep lack, this deep lack of knowing our own selves, knowing our own being, knowing the, you can say, the actual force or power behind existence which makes life possible. If this is known, this quest, this hunger for what next will come to an end. इसीलिए इस ज्ञान को, it is put in the superlative, it is called the highest because it addresses and meets the existential needs of life. अगर एक व्यक्ति के पास सब कुछ हो, फिर भी there is a hankering for more experience, that itself shows that nothing of this material world and the mental world can give us perfect satisfaction. It will address our physical and mental needs, yes, definitely, और वो चाहिए भी, absolutely. But the ultimate, you can say, hankering or feeling or questioning about the ultimate nature of human existence, इसको मीट करने की क्षमता सिर्फ वेदांत में है. वेदांत, और you can say spiritual knowledge in general, because there are many things in life which are not satisfied by mere physical and mental satisfaction. Just by satisfying that, they don't get completely satisfied. And that is why this knowledge has been put on the highest rung of the ladder. और भी एक है, इसका definition ही है परमानंद प्राप्ति. It is the attainment of the highest possible happiness of the human life. परम आनंद की प्राप्ति है. This jnana is about that. Now, this will appear very utopian unless you understand the nature of happiness in your own system. तो मैंने एक बड़ा बुक लिखा है इस पर, आप देख सकते हो. किरण जी के पास तो है, साइंस ऑफ हैप्पीनेस. We must systematically understand the nature of happiness in our own selves. There is no need of studying any book, I am telling you. If you understand the nature of life from within yourself, you will arrive at the essentials of Vedanta. एंड इफ यू टेक थर्ड पर्सन पर्सपेक्टिव, किसी की किताब पढ़ना या किसी का जो स्पीच है उसको एनालाइज करना, ऐसे करने से ये ज्ञान प्राप्त नहीं है. दिस इज द होल प्रॉब्लम. दैट कैन बी एन इंसेंटिव, दैट कैन बी एन इंस्पिरेशन टू स्पिरिचुअल प्रैक्टिस विच विल give you deeper understanding, but the practice, the method has to be followed by oneself. और इसके द्वारा ही मेडिटेशन के द्वारा वी अंडरस्टैंड दैट देयर आर डिफरेंट लेवल्स ऑफ हैप्पीनेस एंड द हाईएस्ट लेवल इज द स्पिरिचुअल फुलफिलमेंट. इसीलिए ये ज्ञान जो है, ये अध्यात्म विद्या जो है, इट इज इक्वल टू परमानंद प्राप्ति. That is why it is the highest. After that, you no more ask what next. तब तक हम पूछते रहेंगे और क्या है, और क्या है, मुझे ये नहीं मिला, वो नहीं मिला, वो नहीं मिला, हम पूछते ही रहेंगे. But there is a time when we will say नहीं, no more. This is the highest. The complete satiation of the human mind comes by spiritual knowledge. तो इसीलिए इसकी प्राप्ति को सबसे बेहतर माना गया है. In all traditions in the world, why is it that people are actually wanting the spiritual life and spiritual comfort? It is only for this reason, that the material is not enough and the mental is never enough. That is why the spiritual.
Mataji, there's
Can we ask? Can we ask? Kuchu? Can we ask? Saina? Can we ask? Ma, for
Yeah,
this?
please, please.
Okay.
asking
Can we
Mataji about Ramaji.
While
Pardon,
she,
I couldn't hear you clearly.
I was just saying, can we, for the ordinary reader, can we ask her to explain when did it begin? Where does it begin? What are we talking about Vedanta? What does it comprise of? While we
Right.
talk about the journey, let's, for an ordinary listener, ordinary curious listener,
Right.
who's curious कि वेदांता है क्या, क्यों शब्द है
Right.
वेदांत उसका,
Right.
कहाँ से आया, और क्या बेसिक इसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, how can we, so I think let's go back to the elementary. Saina, what do you think?
जी जरूर माताजी. इन लास्ट आपने ये बहुत बारी हमें ये आपने जब हम
Yeah, because because
करा
थोड़ा सा इंट्रोडक्शन दोबारा देनी अच्छी है.
सिर्फ एक फीलिंग कि आप हमें ये भी बताएं, जैसे मम्मी ने बोला कि कहाँ से शुरू हुआ, कैसे शुरू हुआ, फॉर अ सीकर जो एक रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में कैसे अप्लाई होगा. एंड फिर आप हमें ये भी थोड़ा सा ज्ञान दें कि रामकृष्ण परमहंसा जी, शारदा
हाँ.
माँ, विवेकानंद जी
हाँ.
कैसे मार्गदर्शन करते थे रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी के लिए, बिकॉज
Yes.
they really taught us how to live our day-to-day life with the right
Yes.
kind of conduct.
That's
So
right.
if you can put it in that context also for us.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Right. So fundamentally, let me introduce Vedanta to you. See, the classic definition of Vedanta is Vedanta Nama Upanishad Pramanam. Vedanta is that knowledge which the Upanishads give us. Now, what are the Upanishads? Upanishads are that body of literature which constitute the Jnana Kanda, the knowledge portion of the Vedas. So Upanishads are the essence, you can say, the knowledge essence of the Vedas, and they are found in the Vedas. तो वेदों में 4 वेद हैं, ऋक, साम, यजुर और अथर्व वेद. उनमें बहुत सारे उपनिषद्स हैं. They are scattered in the literature of the Vedas, and they are the essential knowledge portion. क्योंकि वेदों में there are a lot of ritual portions, there are mantras for sacrifices, there are hymns, there are many things जिनको अलग अलग नाम दिए गए हैं. There are brahmanas, there are aranyakas, there are many things in the Vedas, but the portion which cannot be used in sacrificial rites but is talking of the highest truths of existence, तो उस portion को हम उपनिषद कहते हैं. तो Upanishads are nothing but part of the Vedas, but they are the essence of the Vedas. Now Upanishads are many in number again, and generally ऐसे बोलते हैं हम 108 Upanishads है. उनमें से there are 10 Upanishads which have been commented upon by Shankaracharya, तो उनको principal Upanishads कहते हैं. तो all this body of knowledge is actually coming from this Upanishad, this particular literature. And इसका टाइम जो है वो बहुत पुराने टेक्स्ट है ये. In fact, the Rigved, it dates back to more than 8,000 years. So they are texts which belong to a very, very long, old period of time. But the subject matter of the Upanishads, the beauty is, it is very relevant even today. वो किसके बारे में चर्चा कर रहे हैं? They are talking about the fundamental nature of our own existence. They are talking about consciousness. They are talking about awareness. All these words जो मैं use कर रही हूँ, in some form you will find it in Upanishadic literature. They are talking about the real nature of man. They are talking about the method to it. तो अब इसके aren't these questions very, very contemporary? Aren't they important to us today? So that's why I said the subject matter of the Upanishads is not as old as the texts are. It is very, very contemporary. It is very, very relevant to today's times. And in fact, इसके ऊपर रिसर्च और चर्चा अभी भी कितने यूनिवर्सिटीज में चल रही है, अभी भी कितने रिसर्च सेंटर्स में चल रही है. बिकॉज हु इज नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन द नेचर ऑफ माई ओन कॉन्शियसनेस? तो जो ऋषियों ने जो इंसाइट उन्होंने पाया, उसको उन्होंने रिकॉर्ड करके रखा है. Not that they actually wrote it. This is Shruti. This was knowledge which was transmitted by word of mouth. But at some point it was compiled together. And so we have the entire Vedic literature, and especially this Upanishadic literature. It is very interesting. If you actually go through it, हम ये जो पंगोट में रिट्रीट्स करते हैं ना, इसी के ऊपर करते हैं. We take up some particular text, Upanishadic text or Vedantic text, and we hold a deep level discussion on it, and we try to understand its relevance to the present age, to our own today's thinking patterns, to the questions which we have today. और ये अगर if you now take up an Upanishad just like that, suppose you take up Ishopanishad या Mandukya Upanishad, then it may appear a little abstruse, I can tell you that. It will appear, because they are very impersonal texts, they are discussing the nature of existence, it may appear a little abstruse. तो इसीलिए they require to be interpreted. In every age they have been interpreted. You will find commentaries of Shankaracharya, commentaries by Ramanujacharya, so many commentaries on these Upanishads. But in the modern age, the best commentary on the Upanishads, I can tell you, is the life of Sri Ramakrishna. And the verbal interpretation was wonderfully, beautifully given out by Swami Vivekananda. एंड माँ शारदा का लाइफ जो है वो प्रैक्टिकल डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन ऑफ उपनिषद ही है, और कुछ नहीं है. वो तो खड़ी होके ऐसे भाषण नहीं देती थी. She was not of that type, but the way she lived her life and the way she served others, it is Upanishad demonstration of the spirit of the Upanishad alone. In Sri Ramakrishna's life, you will see his search in spiritual life began with the question, is there a God? आपको पता है ना, वो पुजारी थे माँ काली के इन द दक्षिणेश्वर काली टेम्पल. तो उन्होंने एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया कि वेल ये मूर्ति जो है वो भगवान है. उन्होंने क्वेश्चन किया पहले कि माँ क्या तुम यहाँ उपस्थित हो इस भाव में? Is it true that you are here? Is it true that God is real? See, the questioning spirit, यही this is the spirit of the Upanishads. वहां पर ना आपको बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस मिलेंगे उपनिषद्स में, which are the some of the greatest questions of life, I am telling you. वहां कोई ये एक्सेप्टेंस या कमांडमेंट स्टाइल में टीचिंग या बिलीफ सिस्टम्स नहीं है. इट इज अ कॉन्वर्सेशन बिटवीन द गुरु एंड शिष्य, and they are very, very rational, scientific, universal problems which are being discussed, and the solutions are also equally scientific and universal, in the sense today if you apply the same methods you will get the same answers. So कुछ करने की चीज है ये साधना. हम क्यों insist? See, there is no spirituality without sadhana, for the simple reason the research can only be carried in the first person. इसका मतलब है किसी के बोलने से या किसी, देखिए कितने सारे महापुरुषों ने कितना सारा ज्ञान हमें दिया है, लेकिन आप अपने अंदर जो समझते हो, what you are able to grasp and intuit, and the insights generated by your meditative practices, they alone will constitute your spiritual knowledge. इसलिए ये करने की बात है. If you see the life of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swami Vivekananda, these people actually did sadhana. Large portion of Sri Ramakrishna's life is intense sadhana. कैसे वो बैठे थे? Initially, how he wept to the Divine Mother, saying, "Mother, if you are real, show me. Show it to me that you are real. If there is a God, I should know. I should be able to see him." उन्होंने किसी तरह के बिलीफ सिस्टम पर को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया था that I believe that the divine exists in this form. ऐसा नहीं था. So you see the spirit of questioning, inquiry and meditation. This has been the, you can say, spiritual tradition of India. यहीं पे आप हम क्यों कहते हैं कि भारत ऋषि मुनियों का देश है, कि it is actually embedded in this land that whatever has to be known in the first person, and through the power of tapasya and sadhana, and not like an armchair philosopher, आप बैठ के कुछ सोचने लगे और उसके conclusions आपने लिख दिए. That doesn't constitute spiritual knowledge in this culture. और इसीलिए हम कहते हैं कि spiritual practice, small forms of meditation, calming the mind, generating the higher awareness, this is possible even today. देखिए इन लोगों ने ना, श्री रामकृष्ण देव ने और श्री माँ ने ये प्रैक्टिकल कर दिया है. प्रैक्टिकली दे हैव गिवन अस अ लॉट ऑफ टिप्स एंड हिंट्स ऑन हाउ टू ब्रिंग वेदांत इनटू आवर लाइव्स. इट इज नो यूज डिस्कसिंग बिग थियरीज इफ यू हैव नॉट फेल्ट द रियलिटी ऑफ समथिंग, है ना? देखिए एक्चुअली द वेदांतिक लिटरेचर हैज बीन इंटरप्रेटेड बाय सो मेनी पीपल, इवन बाय लॉजिशियंस. उन्होंने लॉजिक अप्लाई किया, उन्होंने बहुत कुछ अप्लाई किया. It has come to us in very digestible format, but you will realize the truth of it only if you do something about it in your life. जैसे I may write a treatise on love, but I never experienced love. What is the point? I may write a treatise on hunger, on food, but I never ate the food. What's the point? तो फर्स्ट पर्सन में इसको एक्सपीरियंस करने की बहुत ज़रूरत होती है. Any person who inquires after the spiritual must experience it in the spirit. That is the essential thing. तो इसीलिए इसके लिए मेथड्स भी दे गए हैं. All this, ये जो महापुरुष हमारे कल्चर में जन्मे हैं, they have given us the method to this also. The methods of meditation, methods of inquiry. फिर आप उनके जीवन में देखना उन्होंने क्या किया था. ये जो माँ का लाइफ हम डिस्कस करते हैं, her immense universality and ability to accept all, ability to become the mother of the whole world, of every being in the world. ये कहाँ से आया? See, this is Vedant. This is Vedant. अगर ये एलिमेंट ना हो, आप सिर्फ किसी के टेक्स्ट आपने पढ़ लिए, that doesn't mean that you are a knower of Brahman or a knower of Vedant. So essentially it is about an expansion of your consciousness, about being able to include, accept everyone, a completely inclusive philosophy of life. And this is the nature of life. इसलिए तो इसको सनातन धर्म कहते हैं. This is not another philosophy. It is the nature of life. सनातन वस्तु है ये, सनातनी धर्म है ये. By dharma, I don't mean religion again here. I mean the way of life, the way of understanding life, which is universal. So that this is the beauty of Vedant, that it is the most scientific, rational way of knowing, those pieces of life which are otherwise close to our intelligence. See, the very nature of our life is not known to us, isn't it? अगर मैं पूछूं मैं कौन हूँ, आप पूछ के देखो. I think every child should do this experiment. आप पूछ के देखो मैं कौन हूँ. The only ideas you will get is मैं इसका बेटा हूँ, मैं इनका बेटा हूँ, मैं इस स्कूल में पढ़ रहा हूँ, मैं ये कर रहा हूँ, वो कर रहा हूँ. It's not about that. What is the fundamental nature of my existence? कुछ करने के आगे आप क्या हो, कुछ बनने के आगे आप क्या हो. So this form of inquiry and the methods towards this This is outlined in the Vedant in a very very wonderful way. तो हम जितना इनके बारे में रिसर्च शुरू करना है by going into the lives of these great people. I would really recommend the life of Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. I do that to my students also. छोटी छोटी पुस्तकें available हैं. Go through the life. What is the life about? What is it dedicated towards? And you will naturally come to Vedanta. Is what I would say.
Mataji, the only it's sometimes we say this, chant your own mantra. The only mantra that works is that the mantra you chant. Of course,
Yes.
here I don't mean that we don't have rituals and we don't have ceremonies. Of course, there are learned scholars and Vedic scholars, and we need those
Yes.
ceremonies. What I mean by chanting your own mantra, and the only mantra that works is the one you chant yourself, is you have to live your own life.
Yes.
So how you live your life is the real sadhana.
Yes.
How do you make informed choices where you can decide how do you live your own life?
Yes.
This is what this highest knowledge is all about. How you
Very
live,
true.
yes, how you live your own life.
You're right, साइना जी, क्योंकि साधना तो हर क्षेत्र में हो सकती है. Sadhana is not about sitting in yoga on a mountain top. हर क्षेत्र में, even the housewife is doing sadhana in a way. और उसी के द्वारा उसको ये ज्ञान प्राप्त हो सकता है. You're right.
Today, Mataji, there's a little effort, little exercise I'm trying to do with Ma's Kripa. 10 to 15 minutes. Of course, according to the day, one can elaborate and read more and understand more. But
Right.
10-15 minutes, read something that comes to me, which makes me reflect the whole day about,
Okay.
as you said, you have to experience it. तभी वो आपका खुद का सच बनेगा. If you live it and if you experience it. माता जी, आज एक बात पढ़ी, एंड उतना जरूर पढ़ती हूँ जितना ये मैं अपनी ऑडियंसेस और व्यूअर्स के साथ भी शेयर करती हूँ, कि 10 मिनट कुछ ऐसा पढ़िए और पूरा दिन आप उस पर रिफ्लेक्ट कीजिए. देखिए उसको आप अपना एक ट्रूथ कैसे बना सकते हैं. वो निभ जाता है माता जी. नो मैटर हाउ द डे इज, वो 10-15 मिनट की रीडिंग निभ जाती है. वो एक क्रिया टूटती नहीं है फिर. माता जी, this is for a seeker. This question is for a seeker. It said, when the human body passes over, 16 elements of the physical body disintegrate. But 19 elements of the astral body remain intact. So Mataji, if so many elements of the astral body are going to remain intact, that means that entire karma of our life, वो body के तो 16 elements disintegrate हो गए and we are done with it. But that
Yes.
19 elements of the astral body are going to go forward with us. So
Yes.
that means that entire karma is being stored into the 19 elements.
Yes.
So Mataji, that karma, the watch on karma is so important. और फिर हम बाद में जब हमारी जर्नी कंटिन्यू होती है, then we wonder why all this is happening to us. But that
Yes.
karma is got stored into the 19 elements of astral body.
Correct.
Mataji, please explain this.
So, according to yoga, it is a fact that you see only the physical body, the external crust of your personality falls with death. The rest of you continue. What is the rest of you? Your mental body, what is called subtle body, and then the causal body, जो आप astral body कह रहे हैं, they will continue. So a large chunk of you continues. And what exactly continues? Your sanskars continue, your the habits you have created, because they are imprinted on your subtle body, your mind. They will continue. Your karma continues, and your future is determined by a combination of these. So यहाँ पर हम लोगों ने जो किया है, actually, see, people usually by karma understand physical karma only, what you do, but what you think also is karma. Please remember, whatever energy you gave out, that is karma. Whatever form of energy, whether physical or mental or anything that you did, it amounts to karma. So the net effect of this, you actually carry it with you, because your subtle body and causal body just only the physical body falls, the rest of you is carried over. It is carried over where? So you see, that is why Vedant mein, this is not the language of Advait Vedant, because that talks only of the highest level of spirituality. But ये विशिष्ट द्वैत में, द्वैत वेदांत में, we do speak of different levels of existence also. जैसे ये जो है भू पे हमारा existence है. So here it is the nature of the existence is material, because you are expressing yourself through a material body. But there are different levels of existence where the nature of existence may not be material, essentially. So there are different lokas, realms of existence. Or according to your karma, you go into that loka. It's not a matter of choice. After death, it is more a matter of resonance than choice. Where you resonate, you will go there. With what you resonate, यहीं पे देखिए आप, right on earth, you gather those kind of people around you who resonate with your mental life, isn't it? You deliberately go to those places which resonate with your bhav. तो कुछ ऐसी चीज है कि what exact karma and sanskar you have gathered over a lifetime, that will determine your future, where you will go next. What you resonate with, you will enter that loka, and there you continue your spiritual growth. But please remember, this alone is karma bhumi, ये भी बताया गया है. तो फिर से कर्म करने के लिए वापस यहीं पे आना चाहिए. You just pass through those lokas as means to answer the fruit of your action. जैसे अच्छे कर्म हो तो कुछ अच्छा फ्यूचर है, अच्छे लोकों में जाते हैं, फिर वहां कुछ अनुभव लेके फिर से यहाँ भू पे आ जाते हैं. So this is the karma yoga, I mean the karma bhumi, where you can manufacture karma phal. So this cycle continues until we understand that the nature of our existence is not material but spiritual. इस ज्ञान के द्वारा हमारे जो कर्म होते हैं, they naturally become of the highest level, because you will understand the nature of life is service and contribution. So जहां पर ये भाव डोमिनेट हो गया है, the भाव of service, the भाव of contribution, वहां पर then the karma works magically. That कर्म योग हो जाता है. You are now working with a spirit of giving of yourself completely. So that will naturally, after death, liberate you, which means take you to a very high level. और यहाँ पे अगर we don't understand this, ये ज्ञान अगर संपूर्ण रूप से हमारे जीवन में ना आया हो, we will be working for selfish, silly reasons which we will not understand. Based on our identities, you see, an ordinary man works as per his identity. And as per his understanding of himself, his family, तो उसका जो सर्कल है वो उतना ही रहता है. Me and the people I like and my family, so he will work only for that much. But when the spirit of service and contribution comes, when you understand the nature of your own existence is so spiritual that it includes everything, how will you work? Your very philosophy of life will change. you will work the same way for everyone. और मुझे तो मेरी एग्जाम्पल मेरे सामने ही बैठी हुई है. She has that spirit of working for everyone in a very dynamic way. So ये भाव जब संपूर्ण भाव से हमारे अंदर आता है, तब naturally you will become spiritual in outlook. Naturally, because the philosophy of your life is to contribute, and then you will generate a big karma yoga which will liberate you.
Mataji,
Yes.
one of the days,
What is liberation? What is
What is
liberation?
liberation? Liberation means mukti from limited existence.
Ah,
So the limitations of our existence, once we understand them, you will naturally want mukti. ये मुक्ति कोई philosophical concept नहीं है. If you dive within yourself, you will understand the nature of my existence is infinite, but I have managed to identify it with one body mind. This is my problem. So when you actually understand this, all you will want is infinite expansion within yourself. तो माँ शारदा का जो लाइफ है वो बेस्ट एग्जाम्पल है, आई विल से. See, right from the age of 16, she is able to see every man, woman and child as her own child. आप सोच के देखिए ये भाव आपको कहाँ मिलेगा? She is incomparable in this world. That's why she is so little known. It is only natural. Because her bhav was so universal, so broad, so all accepting, that in today's modern life we don't have examples like this. गांधी जी के बारे में आइंस्टाइन ने बताया था कि the future generations will refuse to believe a man called Gandhi existed.
yeah.
So great was his personality. वैसे ही मैं कहूंगी माँ शारदा के संबंध में कि future generations may not believe that such a woman existed. जिनका ऐसा भाव, घनीभूत भाव हो सकता है कि वो सारे ब्रह्मांड को अपना बना सकती है, just by the power of her motherly love. There are very few individuals like this, please remember. So these are our treasures. That is why कि ये संभव है, this kind of a divine feeling in human life. So these people are liberated naturally by their very bhav, by their very sentiment. They are liberated. यही तो मोक्ष है. Moksha is not a philosophical concept or a metaphysical abstraction. It is the breaking of your limitations in every way.
Mataji, one day,
We
आपका
could
एक
have had, we could have had
video
the title of the book, Saina. We could have
जी
had the title of the book rather than Fearless Governance, Liberated Governance. Yeah, because fearless meant, in a way, the negative or whatever side of the liberate. So it's like a
Yes.
liberated governance where it expands, governance
Yes.
expands and makes it inclusive for all. But obviously, being fearless is a very essential part of it. But you see that?
Right.
I think it's just very positive. It's got a liberated governance where you rise
Yes.
and above limitations.
Right. Right.
Isn't it?
Very true.
Rather than fearless, fearless is one component of liberation. But
Correct.
liberation includes fearlessness. But fearlessness is only one component of liberation. I want to change the title of my book called Liberated Governance. I think it's a wonderful line where you have encompassed all, you include all, you belong to all belong to you.
Very true. Very true.
Wonderful.
यही तो spirituality है ना. It is not divested from life. It is
Yes,
being able to see life like this.
correct. How wonderful. Tell us about your Amarnath Yatra. Now, Ma, I may have to leave in 5 minutes. I have a session with the webinar with the with Jodhpur Management Institution. I will leave
Okay.
5 minutes earlier. Saina will carry on. But tell us quickly. But I don't want to spend only 5 minutes on that Amarnath Yatra. Maybe we'll have you speak about it in the next session.
Okay.
Next session when we meet again. Saina, would you like to continue?
जी
I will leave. because I have to get ready and connect with the group
जी.
to make a presentation. I beg your leave, but I'll. How long are you continuing to be in Delhi?
I'm here till mid-August.
Very good. So I'll see you before that. I'll drop by
Sure.
1 minute, one day, check with you if you're available.
Yeah. Please come.
I will come
Please,
and take your blessings.
please come.
Carry on, Saina. Thank
जी.
you for this opportunity, Saina.
Thank you, mummy. Thank you.
Mhm.
जी, जी, thank you. जी. Mataji, one day I heard a YouTube of yours. If you can share that story with the audience of
Yes.
truly what bhakti means, when एकदम अभी मन में याद आया जब आप लिबरेशन की बात कर रहे थे, because in my own innocent way, when I ask myself what is liberation, I keep telling myself it means surrender to the divine will.
Hmm.
So for me, it's surrender to the divine will, जो उनकी मर्जी, so जो
Yes.
माँ की मर्जी, जो धारी माँ की मर्जी, so surrender to the divine will. And that day when this feeling was coming in me, I heard your YouTube. That story, Mataji, that when there's a learned sage who erases a few words from the Bhagavad Gita,
Yes.
and then he goes for his snan, and when he comes back, Lord had already come and delivered everything they needed to his wife,
Right.
because for her the Lord's word was final. There was nothing beyond it in her innocence. So can you
Right.
share that? Can you please share that with us?
Yes. That's a very beautiful story, which depicts the highest devotion. So there was this Pandit who was a Pandit of the Bhagavad Gita, and रोज वो सुबह बैठ के स्टडी करते थे भगवत गीता को, and he would expound it to a whole number of people. So he had a even more devoted wife, a very devoted wife, but because he was a man of knowledge, a little ahankar was there, little ego was there. So the story begins like this: that he was reading the Bhagavad Gita mantra, I mean the verse, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Now the meaning of this is, जो अनन्य रूप से मेरी चिंता करते हैं, भगवान कह रहे हैं, भगवान श्री कृष्ण कह रहे हैं, जो अनन्य भाव से मेरी आराधना करते हैं, ये जना पर्युपासते, जो उपासना करते हैं, तेषाम नित्याभियुक्ता नाम, इस तरह के जो मेरे साथ युक्त लोग हैं, माने बड़े योगी हैं, जो मुझ में ही समाते हैं, मुझ में ही युक्त हैं, उनका मैं क्या करता हूँ, योगक्षेमम वहाम्यहम, उनका योग और क्षेम, इसकी देखभाल मैं करता हूँ. वहां में हम कहते हैं भगवान, इसका मतलब है आई कैरी टू देम वॉट एवर दे रिक्वायर इन द हियर एंड द हियर आफ्टर. So they have nothing to worry about, just if they remain completely immersed in me, in devout worship, without any other thought, I carry to them whatever they require here and hereafter. This is the meaning of the verse. तो ये पंडित वो पढ़ रहे थे, तब उन्होंने सोचा, अच्छा भगवान यहाँ क्यों वहाम यहम कह रहे हैं, why should he carry to the devotee whatever the devotee requires. वो तो भगवान है, वो तो उनका स्तर इतना हाई है कि he doesn't have to carry. वो ददाम्य हम बोलने से ही तो हो जाता. शायद ददाम्य हम ही बोला था भगवान ने. ददाम्य हम मीन्स आई गिव, आई बेस्टो अपॉन द डिवोटी वॉट एवर ही रिक्वायर्स. तो इन्होंने सोच लिया कि भगवान ने जरूर वो ददाम्य हम मीन किया है कि दैट ही ग्रांट्स टू द डिवोटी वॉट एवर दे रिक्वायर. व्हाई शुड ही कैरी, ही इज द सुप्रीम लॉर्ड, सो ही विल ग्रांट. तो उन्होंने स्ट्राइक किया. that time they had those feather pens, तो रेड इंक में डाल के ऐसे स्ट्राइक किया 2 बार, and he removed dadamyaham, I mean vahamyaham, and put dadamyaham in its place. That time his wife told him, the story goes like that his wife told him, These are the words of the Lord. ये तो भगवत गीता है, ये तो भागवत गीता नहीं है, which means it is they are actually the words of the Lord, not about the Lord. So you cannot strike out the words of the Lord. And then he said, "Oh, you women, what do you understand of all this? Have you read? You have not read the entire Bhagavad Gita. You can't catch its spirit. What I'm doing is right." He said all this. ये सब उपदेश उनको देके फिर वो चल दिए. He went to the river to have his bath, and then this lady felt very hurt because he had changed the words of the Lord. And then that day there was nothing to cook at home. It was a very poor family because he only was a kind of priest who studied the scriptures and expounded them and made a little living out of that. So she was wondering what to cook. There was nothing at home. Then suddenly उन्होंने सुना कि there is this very beautiful uh, flute tune coming from somewhere. The air is carrying that, and इतना सुंदर लग रहा था. तो फिर सोचने लगी कि कहाँ से आ रहा है ये. Then a very beautiful boy appeared before her. He had such an expression on his face कि she could not remove her eyes from him. हंसते उस लड़के ने कहा कि माँ मैं आपके लिए कुछ लाया हूँ. तो then she looked up and saw bright face, divine eyes, और ऐसा भाव है उस बच्चे का कि जो मोहित करता है ना, that like as if Mohan himself has come in front of her. So she went down on her knees and she said, "My child, what have you brought for me? Come here." तब उसने कहा कि ये पंडित जी ने भेजा है. तो कृष्ण है ना, ऐसा सब बोल देते हैं. तो पंडित जी ने भेजा है और आपके लिए भेजा है. फिर उसने वो एक बड़ी टोकरी को लेके आ रहा था वो लड़का. तो उसने टोकरी नीचे रखी और उसमें देखा all sorts of very beautiful things are there. There are sweets and savories and groceries and fruits and all that she would require for a long time. So just a minute, I'll have some water. तो इनको लगा दिस लेडी कि ये जरूर किसी और के घर के लिए है. बाय मिस्टेक दिस चाइल्ड हैज कम हियर. सो शी टोल्ड हिम, शायद किसी और के घर का है, यहाँ का नहीं है बेटा, बिकॉज आई डोंट थिंक माई हस्बैंड कैन सेंड दीज थिंग्स. ही हैज गॉन फॉर हिज बाथ. देन द बॉय इंसिस्टेड, नहीं नहीं यही के लिए है, पंडित जी ने भेजा है और मुझे आपको दे के जाना है. So he put the basket at her feet, and then, as he bent down, she immediately saw 2 scars on his back. ऐसे 2 line of, but there was blood coming out of it, and she felt very very pained to see this. And उन्होंने पूछा कि बेटा ये कैसे हुआ, किसने आपको घायल किया है, किसने आपको मारा है. And then he said, और कौन, पंडित जी. Her husband only is saying, he beat me up. Then she said, but why did he do it? Pata nahi, he said. And again he gave that wonderful smile. वो तो मनमोहन है ना. ऐसे स्माइल कर सकते हैं कि after that everybody will forget everything. So like this again he said, but कुछ नहीं माँ, सब ठीक हो जाएगा, आप कुछ चिंता मत करो, he said. And then he started going, and she called out to him. She said, no, wait, have something and go, and don't go like this, wait. But he said, no, फिर से आऊंगा. And he went away, leaving that basket at her door. Then she was so sort of caught up with that beautiful face and his way of talking, and such a charming child, that she just sat there and she was thinking about him. Who could he be? What? He didn't even tell his name. Then suddenly her husband entered. तो पंडित जी आ गए with his cloth on his shoulder, and with his quick bath over. He came in and at once he saw the basket and said, ये कहाँ से आया? Then she said, क्यों आप ही ने तो भेजा? Then he said, मैंने नहीं भेजा. Then she said, वो लड़का आया था जिसका नाम भी मुझे पता नहीं, और उसने कहा कि आपने भेजा है, लेकिन आपने उसको इतना क्यों मारा? हाँ, कितना प्यारा बच्चा था, कुछ भूल हुई होगी तो इतना क्यों मारते हो आप? हाँ, तो तब पंडित जी ने कहा, मैंने किसी को नहीं मारा है, मैं सिर्फ मेरे स्नान के लिए गया था और अभी लौटा हूं, अभी मैं भिक्षा के लिए जाऊंगा. तो तब then both of them thought, then who brought this basket? Who brought this basket? And what about that those scars on his back? Then at once Panditji himself remembered that today morning I had scarred out, the words of the Lord with red ink. Uh, and what exactly had he removed? Vahamyaham, and added Dadamyaham in its place. So the Lord Himself came to show, I carry to my devotee whatever he needs. I carry, I don't grant and vanish. I carry, I bring him whatever he wants. If he is devoted to me in this way, I am responsible for him. I will bring to his doorstep whatever he requires. So जैसे ही ये ज्ञान आया उनके मन में, वो रो पड़े, and the lady was already crying. Then both of them went to their shrine, and there was this Bal Gopal, whom they used to worship. So they saw the living picture of that boy's face in that murti, and they understood कि वही आए थे, कृष्ण भगवान स्वयं आए थे ये दिखाने के लिए कि मैं खुद आता हूँ मेरे भक्त के लिए, मैं खुद सब लेके जो जरूरी है वो लेके आता हूँ. एंड योग क्षेमम वहाम्यहम, ये मेरा दायित्व है, ये मेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. Whoever surrenders, you see, bhakti is the most beautiful thing in life. It is the way to progress rapidly. जिनके मन में ये भाव आ गया है एक बार कि भगवान का स्वरूप कैसे होता है, naturally devotion will be there in that heart. So use that devotion and believe in the words of the Lord, and He will bring you whatever you want. This is the meaning of the story. और कोई मेंटल जिम्नास्टिक्स करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है भक्ति मार्ग में. You just know by your inner intuition, you know the nature of the Lord, so you fall in love with the Lord, and only the Lord dominates your life. और आपको जो चाहिए इस जीवन में, इस लोक में और परलोक में, वो भगवान स्वयं ले आएंगे आपके लिए. So just this one verse I'm telling you, it is enough to understand the crux of spiritual life. If you can manufacture that level of devotion, see, where devotion is there, there is natural detachment. Where devotion is there, there is natural unselfishness. Where devotion is there, there is a natural one pointedness. सब अपने आप आ जाता है. Because devotion to the Supreme is there. उसकी धारणा एक बार हम अगर मन में कर सके, if you generate a very pure heart by which you can conceive of the nature of the Lord, devotion will naturally arise there, and you will become one with the Lord. कितनी सुंदर स्टोरी है, देखिए, ये समझने के लिए कि devotee need not worry about anything. बहुत सुंदर स्टोरी है ये indeed.
जी जी जी. It really moves
Yes,
the inner core. It moves you completely.
yes.
Mataji, any thoughts that you want to share with us? What Sharda Ma would say, Vivekanand ji would say, Ramakrishna
Yes,
Paramahansa ji would say. कुछ छोटी छोटी बातें which they would say, which have stayed on with you.
yes. माँ शारदा का ही हम डिस्कस करते हैं because we have just a few minutes.
Yes. जी.
माँ शारदा's life was very simple, but her words have been very profound. और वेदांत का सार है उसमें. देखिए, in the last moments of her life, she gave this very important message. तो एक भक्त वहाँ आई थी. She was standing at the door, and mother suddenly turned to her and said, "My child, if you want peace of mind, do not find faults with others. देखिए ये कितना important है, हाँ? Today, if you actually analyze your mental life, you will see the whole problem with our mental life is it is constantly picking up and differentiating the right from the wrong, the good from the bad, this from that. ये चलता ही रहता है. It keeps our mind busy, and it can generate a very critical, cynical outlook in our minds. एक अश्रद्धा का भाव आ जाता है दूसरों के प्रति. This is the cause for a lot of mental depression, negativity. So mother is telling us, if you want peace of mind, first thing you stop finding faults with others. Rather, she says, see your own faults. Learn to make the whole world your own, she said next. Because no one is a stranger, my child, the world is yours. तो ये कितनी बड़ी सीख है, आप देखिए. In today's life, see, this much alone is enough. You actually find faults with others only when your own mind is contaminated. And then it keeps you busy. A contaminated mind will keep you busy going around in circles. And you think you are being very dynamic, and this is the whole problem. If you want peace of mind, stop this process completely and learn to make others your own. Because the actual fact of life is nobody is a stranger. It is your own consciousness embodied in different forms, functioning under different names. तो आप किसको ये करोगे? Whom can you remove from the actual river of life? So see, this one teaching alone is sure to, it's a guarantee that it will bring you a very stable inner state of mind. जो साधना के द्वारा, योग के द्वारा लोग प्राप्त करते हैं, वो आपको सिर्फ इस एक चीज को फॉलो करने से आपको मिल जाएगा. कितनी इजी टीचिंग है, बट सो profound. And because it is the fact of life that the world is one, that life is only one, manifesting through different forms, but one. तो आप किसी को सेपरेट करने की कोशिश करोगे तो आप खुद गिर जाओगे. You will lose your peace of mind. And this kind of teaching you will find abundant in mother's life. She was constantly, her very actions showed सभी को पास लाने को, सभी को एक सूत्र में बांधने के लिए she was तत्पर all the time. Her life shows right from childhood she has played this role. You see what a mother does in a family, she did that for the whole world. जो भी उनके पास आते थे, whether it was the general secretary of the Ramakrishna order, Sharat Maharaj, Swami Shardananda, or there was a petty thief by name Amjad. Both were her sons. She used to say, what Amjad is to me, that only Sharat is to me. Both are the same to me. So imagine, ye hamare, see, the mind works by these polarities it finds. If it stopped doing that, it will naturally enter the state of yoga. It will stop by itself. So that is why she's telling us peace of mind comes when you stop seeing differences and faults in others. तो ऐसी बहुत सारी बातें हैं माँ शारदा के लाइफ में which are very applicable in our today's life. She is giving us great psychological, spiritual truths in very easy format, applicable format. तो ये एक चीज आपको बता के आई थिंक टाइम इज अप. 5 बज गए हैं. आई होप दिस इज यूजफुल टू आवर व्यूअर्स.
Yes, of course, Mataji. Yes, they will absorb every word what you've said, and we will meet again, Mataji. जब आप हमें समय दे सके, we will meet again. We'll take a time and again have a session like this, because बहुत सारे सवाल मन में आते हैं. We want to talk about how we can all deal with our pain, how we can not crumble in circumstances. छोटी छोटी चीजें जो बहुत जरूरी है रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में, वो सब पूछना है आपको. तो जब भी आप दोबारा समय देंगे हमको, then we'll again. जी माता जी, आपको बहुत बहुत प्रणाम माता जी. फिर से आपके इष्ट को, आपके आराध्य को प्रणाम. जयधारी माँ, हमारी ऑडियंसेस को प्रणाम.
जय माँ,
आप
जय माँ।
कमेंट, जी आप कमेंट सेक्शंस में लिखिए, कमेंट सेक्शन में लिखिए अपने सजेशंस, अपने आइडियाज दीजिए, हम हर कमेंट पे रिफ्लेक्ट करेंगे। और डेमोन्स्ट्रेटिव लर्निंग का एक ऐप भी है, अगर मुमकिन हो, अगर आप चाहें, आपको अच्छा लगे तो आप उसको डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं अपने फ़ोन पे, ताकि प्रोग्राम्स आपको बहुत आसानी से दिख जाएंगे। तो जैसी आपकी इच्छा, लेकिन हम आपके लिए ऐसे ही चर्चा लाते रहेंगे, आप उसको सुने। माता जी प्रणाम, माता जी प्रणाम, थैंक यू,
नमस्ते,
थैंक यू,
थैंक
नमस्ते
यू,
माता जी।
नमस्ते।
जी जय धारी माँ, मिलेंगे आपको दोबारा जी।